Alright, what's good, people? Pete from PFM FIT here, back with another video. Just finished my workout, by the way. Did a nice chest and shoulder day, shoulder and chest day, with a little bit of abs snuck in there as well. It's pretty good. Got lifted some heavy-ass weight, got a nice pump, it was good stuff. But that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is something I've been thinking about for a long time, aka the past few months, about my training philosophy more specifically, and how I've kind of separated myself from the traditional sects of the gym, the different sectors like bodybuilding and powerlifting and, all those different realms of the gym and different disciplines. But what I call this is balance bro training, because I kind of realized at one point that I'm not really ready, currently at least, to commit to like one specific discipline, but at the same time, I kind of want to make gains with, training methodology and training techniques from each discipline. I want to kind of have it all, if you will. That's where the balance bro training comes in, because we're trying to build a balanced body here in terms of all the different disciplines. Now, let me go over the categories I have here. I have 6 different categories. They're not all necessarily gym related, but they are huge components of what I would consider to be my training and things that support my training. So, first thing, the first 3 things actually are gym related. We have strength, aesthetics, and athletics. Those are the first 3 components, and we'll discuss all these in detail. Next 3, we have nutrition, longevity, and survival. So, quite interesting there, the second 3, I think. But we're going to get into all of them. Let's start with strength. To me, I always wanted to get stronger in the gym. Obviously, I want it to be aesthetic. I want it to be lean. I wanted a bicep vein. I wanted abs. I wanted all these things that I somewhat have now, with a nice pump and the right lighting and whatnot. But strength was the main thing. I was always getting bullied. I was always not strong enough, to either stand up for myself or have the physical capabilities to, protect my friends or protect other people from being wronged, let's say. So strength has always been a goal of mine from the gym. And I've never really been committed enough to say, oh, I'm a power lifter who just wants to SBD and focus on pure strength and just the pure 1 rep max discipline and moving as much weight as possible with the perfect technical form and not focusing on hypertrophy at all or anything like that, So I never really became a hardcore power lifter. But I think the strength component should encapsulate, some disciplines from powerlifting, a little bit of strongman potentially, and also this is where you focus on progressive overload, because even bodybuilders get stronger. Even bodybuilders progressive overload too, which brings me right into the next category, aesthetics. This is where I think you take discipline and you take, training techniques from bodybuilders, people who train for aesthetics like calisthenic guys, and this is where you work on looking jacked. So it's one thing to be strong, but what I'm noticing a lot these days is there's a lot of people who are like 120 to 200 pounds who, can like squat bench deadlift like 400 to 800 pounds, but you would never know just by looking at them. So you kind of don't want to be that guy unless you're a competitive lifter, I would say. You want to look as big as you are. You want to look as strong as you are. I think that's a huge component of it too. Nobody wants to have to second guess you or ask you to prove yourself when you say, oh, I bench 315, oh, I deadlift 500 pounds. Like, I'm not going to pull up the bar and carry around 500 pounds with me just to prove myself, and I'm not going to have to pull up my phone every time, just to show you my workout videos. Although, to be fair, if someone asked me, I probably would, to be honest, because no one ever has asked me. So, I actually might chomp at the bit for that opportunity if it arises. But either way, you shouldn't have to prove yourself. You should look, like people should look at you and think, oh, I bet that guy's pretty strong. Oh, he's pretty jacked. I bet he lifts some damn good weight in the gym. That's what you want to look like. That's where the aesthetics come into this. So not only do we want to be strong, we want to be aesthetic too. But the next component, or the next piece of the balance bro training here, of the hexagon of 6 different facets we have, athletics. Now, my entire life, before I even knew what a gym was, or knew what weight training was, or knew how to, pump my bicep to make it bigger over the long run, and, do all these things to get stronger, whatever. Before all that, I was an athlete. I've played sports my entire life. Played soccer literally since I could walk/run, like since I was like 2 or 3 years old. So I've been playing soccer 20 friggin' years. And that builds you quite an athletic base. Your legs are very strong. My calves are naturally very damn big. You know, I'm not one of those guys who's ever complained, oh, I got small calves. No, I actually used to have a lower body much bigger proportionally to my upper body, which is why I never could do pull-ups, because I had this giant tree trunks of legs from my years of soccer weighing me down when I first started in the gym. It was hilarious. But point is when the pandemic hit, I was a college athlete. I was playing at the highest level that I could get myself to with my ability, playing on a college level team in the NCAA, you know, college athletic league in North America. And then the pandemic hit, and that all went away. But I built this home gym because you couldn't go to a public gym. And then I realized after kind of bulking up, you know, gaining like, you know, 40 or 50 fucking pounds of lean muscle, you know, mass, you know, not lean muscle, of course, not all of it. It was probably not even 50-50. It's probably like 70-30, you know, 70% fat and junk food and chicken nugget weight, and then 30% muscle over the few years. But point is I realized at one point, after I went up a flight of stairs, or got halfway up a flight of stairs and said, damn, I'm kind of winded. I used to have such good cardio, you know, when I could like, you know, run 2 miles in under 10 minutes and like freaking, you know, have the agility to go in and out of these cones and ladders freaking faster than anyone I knew. Like, I used to be an athlete. And then it made me think, I can still become an athlete. I can still get these skills back, but also maintain all this upper body mass and size and all this strength I've gained and aesthetics. But then I'm going to bring it together for a more complete package. So not only have I gotten stronger, not only have I gotten bigger and leaner, but I'm also becoming an athlete with the similar capabilities to my speed and agility and endurance that I had when I was playing college soccer. So combine that with my extra strength now. I tool some of the guys I play rec soccer with now, just some of these old guys, you know, who don't hit the gym or anything. So it's honestly very great because I've now combined something I enjoy doing, which is soccer. You know, it's fun to play. I get my cardio from it. And I'm also able to apply what I've gained for abilities in the gym, my extra strength. You know, I'm slowly gaining back my speed while weighing at a heavier body weight and becoming agile with all this extra mass up top. It's a little harder to turn when you got all this extra mass up top. I didn't have these, you know, 15.5-inch freaking pythons, you know, back in the day. It was easier to run that way. But do I want to get rid of my big arms? No. Do I want to not be able to bench over 200 pounds? No. It's not worth it to be a little bit faster at soccer. But this is the point. This is the Balance Bro training. Yes, you're not committed to one discipline to become the 100% peak performer you could be in that one discipline. But if you're, you know, an indecisive, short attention span, you know, kind of person like me, who just enjoys training, but you don't necessarily enjoy, like, the rigidness of a program or the rigidness of, like, a single discipline, mix and match. Let's be a balance bro. You know, you can take multiple disciplines. It's okay, which is something I've never really heard people in the gym talk about, like other influencers, which is why I've kind of made my own ideology here, because I tried their way and it just didn't captivate me enough. It didn't keep my attention. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it or anything bad about it, because it definitely made them a ton of gains. So I don't knock them for it. It certainly works. But I'm more in the belief that optimal versus fun, like if you compare those two, if you're just trying to do the most optimal thing but you don't enjoy doing it, I think it's now less optimal, because you're probably not going to stick with the program fully and not be 100% committed to it, and you'll skip sessions, or you won't be as mentally there to hit the weights you want to hit and progress as much on it. And even if it's the most perfectly optimal workout routine, if you're not into it, if you're bored by it, you know, the results don't matter because you're not going to stick with it. That's what I think. So I think if you do a somewhat suboptimal program, like it's not a perfectly, you know, world-class Olympic powerlifting level, you know, whatever, coached program, but you enjoy it because you pick the exercises you like, and, you know, you're still able to make progress and overload and, you know, do more weight or do more reps or do more sets every week, that's fine. Because if you're going to stick with it, I think you'll get better results than the fully optimal program. So that's where my kind of mindset is there. But Anyways, I think that encapsulates the first three. Disciplines here very well: the strength, the aesthetics, and the athletics. So, just to summarize, we want to get stronger, we want to get bigger and leaner, and we also want to have stamina, have endurance, not be an out-of-breath lunk who can't go up the stairs without getting winded. You still need to be able to freaking run and carry your weight, basically, you know? And the more athletic you can be, the more capable, the higher you can jump, the further you can run without getting tired, the faster you can run, the better off you'll be. Because it all helps with the other facets as well, you know? Let's get into the next one, though. Nutrition. Nutrition is practically the foundation behind all of this, essentially, because if your nutrition is shit, everything else is going to be shit as well. You know, I'm not the most perfect or most, educated person when it comes to nutrition. But just like anything else, just like I look up videos for exercises and form techniques and, rep and progression schemes, I look up nutrition shit too. There's so many YouTube videos on that as well. And, you just watch other gym bros and bodybuilders and people who, have to like cut weight, like fighters. Like you watch all these people and they have a lot to give and teach about dieting and especially like diet nutrition advice relative to, lifting, like gaining muscle, losing fat. Nobody wants to lose muscle, but you get the point. They have the knowledge. It's not like I need to particularly go get a nutritionist degree or go to school and study nutrition specifically. You can learn about it on YouTube, just like anything else, people, and then just apply it. There's so many free nutrition apps that track your calories and track your meals and, tell you what foods are good and what isn't, but I think nutrition encapsulates, diet, supplementation, and also disciplinary control, because I kind of learned discipline from the gym and I'm starting to apply that discipline towards other things. But if you have like a discipline where you're good at meal prepping, you're good at making the right choice and eating the right foods, and you apply that discipline to other facets of your life, you're going to be a super capable person. You're going to be so much more productive than the undisciplined, couch potato who just compulsively eats the bag of chips when they know they should be eating the bag of carrots, So that's nutrition, obviously very important, but perhaps maybe not as important as this next one, which is longevity. So, longevity. This is another one that I realized kind of recently because I don't do regular off-the-floor deadlifts these days. I just do RDLs. And the reason being is because I just can't figure out my own body mechanics and leverages to make the deadlifts not fuck up my lower back. I've tried for a long time, and I don't want to sound like an idiot here who just gave up on the deadlift, but for right now, we've technically given up on it. But we're doing RDLs instead because those don't hurt my back, and I can move heavy weight, overload it, and get very sore where I need to be sore, which for me is hamstrings and the posterior chain, the spinal erectors. That's what I'm trying to train with it. But in terms of longevity, if you're not training to compete or training to become the elite of the elite or a pro, like a pro who needs to take gear because to get to the highest level, like pro bodybuilding or pro strongman, if you just want to compete on the amateur level, you can still train longevity, I would say. But if you're training to go pro, you're not really training for health anymore. You're training to be the best of the best, which is going to sacrifice health. But for most people, 99.9% of us, the rest of us, the majority, me, who doesn't really have the ambition or the aspiration to go pro, why would I kill myself training as if I'm gonna? Why would I not train to increase the length of my life, to increase the quality of my life, to decrease joint pain, knee pain, back pain, neck stiffness, increase blood flow throughout the day, increase my bone density, increase how long I'll be able to bend over, pick things up, squat ass to grass, stay flexible, stay loose, continue playing soccer as I get old. That's longevity right there. Longevity is warming up. It's, lifting to improve weaknesses. Like, let's say, I got flimsy wrists. I got, typing on the computer all day hurts my wrist and hurts my neck. You can train neck. You can train your wrist. You can literally strengthen these things. I've done it personally. I've strengthened my neck. I've strengthened my wrists. I've strengthened my elbows and my knees. because those were all joints that were giving me pain and issues when I was really pushing hard in the gym before I was smart enough to know how to warm up and strengthen those. After I started warming up and strengthening all these little ligaments, joints, tendons, all the small stuff besides the muscles themselves, a lot of my pain started going away, gradually. Not in one warm up, not in one workout, but like a physical therapy type thing. Over weeks and months, the pain started going away and my lifts started going up where I'm lifting more weight without pain. Whereas before, when I started adding weight and hitting lifetime PRs, that's when the pain started arising because my joints and ligaments weren't, accumulated to handle such load and stuff. And that's where the pain and the potential injuries come in. So training for longevity, yes, you may sacrifice the potential hyperspeed of how fast you can make gains short term. But none of that matters if you're there at the end of the game. If you last and be in the gym till your 60s, 70s, 80s, yeah, I'm sure you're going to be lifting less weight. But if you can still squat ass to grass, if you can still bend over and pick up the freaking bar off the ground and lift with the same mobility and range of motion that you were when you were younger and healthy in your prime, you just won. That's longevity right there. Still being able to do the fun things in the gym and enjoy, the pump and enjoy the activity of it well into your late ages, where most people think, oh, it's time to hang up the weights. Oh, my shoulder now, if I didn't, ego lift that one time and throw up my shoulder, I would have never had to stop bench pressing in my friggin' 30s. Like, I hear that shit all the time, and it's just the stupidest little things. Oh, I didn't eat a meal that day. Oh, I didn't drink enough water, or I just didn't warm up, or I never stretched enough, and I didn't follow my PT after the fact, and I didn't fix my injury and learn from my mistake. That's the sad part, though. But this is where the longevity is probably the most important part. Actually, I've said that for every single one. Now that I'm thinking about it, because the next one, now that I'm looking at the next one actually is the most important part. That's why I saved it for last. But whew. So far, though, strength, aesthetics, athletics, we're going to look good, we're going to feel good, we're going to be strong, we're going to nourish our body with proper nutrition to fuel all this athletic activity, and we're going to warm up and train in a way that is going to support a longer, healthier life. If you are able to reduce your resting heart rate through, athletic activities and strength training, the less your heart beats when you're resting, the longer you will live because you put less strain on your freaking ticker over the long term. And those extra beats are going to add extra freaking days and years and everything to your life. Very simply. Same thing with bone density. The arthritis and the joint pain only comes when your bone density gets weak as you get older. But the longer you keep strength training, the longer your freaking bones, or the higher your bones are going to get to a point. They're going to get to a higher density, which means they're going to be decreasing from a higher point. Someone who didn't strength train into their 50s and 60s is going to start feeling the pain that you're not going to feel until your 70s and 80s, or potentially even later, because you took care of yourself. You strengthened yourself and built your base up to such a high point compared to the average person that you're coming down from a higher point as you age. This is the point of the longevity. You live longer and you have more physical capabilities to enjoy more things with that extra time you have. You get to do more adventures. You get to keep going on hikes into your retirement years. That's the beauty of it. That's why I'm doing this. Health. This is the main thing of the gym, to get healthy. It's not to ego lift so you could say, oh, back in the day I deadlifted 500 pounds. Okay, that's great. But if you herniated your friggin' back and blew out your spine and whatever, and then couldn't deadlift ever again after that 500 pounds, what was the point? All you did was ruin the rest of your life beyond that. The point should be, oh, well, yeah, eventually I worked my way up to that 500-pound deadlift, that lifetime PR, but then I continued to deadlift after the fact. And yeah, okay, I'm 60 now and I can only deadlift, 360 now, 350, whatever. Back in the day I could deadlift 500, but you're still deadlifting now. You're just not, the has-been. You actually are still been. You're still doing. Yeah, it's not the same weight, but you're still there. You're still doing it. That's the best part. Now, let's talk about the last most important one. We've said the most important one for everyone so far, but this one really is the most important. Survival. What do I think survival skills encapsulate in my training? For me, this is combat skills, weapons training, woodcraft, handiness, resourcefulness, and building up your indomitable spirit to never bend the knee, never cave, and never give up, and literally die trying if that's what it takes, rather than submit. That is what survival is. Because I realized something. Yes, it's cool to get stronger and lift more weight and have a higher 1 rep max. Yes, it's cool to look big and be jacked and have a six-pack, and sure, if you train for longevity, if nothing bad happens to you, you will live a long life and die of old age. But here's where the survival stuff comes in. What good is your strength and your aesthetics and looking big if you don't actually know how to use it? If you don't actually know how to fight, throw a punch, handle a weapon, handle a firearm, use your freaking, fists, feet, knees, elbows, and freaking forehead to freaking do as much damage as possible and turn every single limb you have into the most lethal weapon it possibly can be. This is where the survival is crucial, because if you're unable to survive, if you're unable to fight for your life, God forbid, should the situation ever arise, but this is the harsh reality of the semi-barbaric world we live in these days, We live in a civilized society, but is it really civilized? No. Crime still occurs, people still do bad things, countries get invaded, wars still occur. We do not live in a utopia, and we don't have that luxury. But what we do have the luxury of is having bodies and brains that are capable of muscle memory, repetition, getting stronger, getting better, getting faster, improving the reflexes, improving coordination, and just becoming more capable than someone who doesn't do any of those things. When you don't do any of these things, you don't get better at anything. You just exist, But if you're training, if you're improving, if you have goals that you're striving towards day by day, chipping away at them, you become better, you become less killable, So survival skills, combat skills. This is your martial arts. This is, any striking martial art, any grappling martial art. I personally love me a good bit of Muay Thai. I just love the way it incorporates, good punching, a lot of kicks, but also knees and elbows. Like, to me, I usually train bare knuckle when I'm hitting the bag because I assume, okay, I'm not going to wrap my hands and have boxing gloves in a street fight, so we'll train bare knuckle so my wrists and fists can take that impact in a bare knuckle situation. But my freaking elbows and my knees, I could punch trees with these things and they don't hurt at all. Yeah, it might scrape the skin a little bit. Big whoop. Like if I'm walking out of that fight alive, but I freaking did maximum damage and didn't have to break any bones in my hand, because I was just able to use knees and elbows, win, But either way, pick whatever martial art you want. If you just want to fold people while they're still in their clothes, go do some jiu-jitsu or some judo or any kind of grapple per se. If you want to strangle people till the lights go out, till they go unconscious, by all means. I'm not telling you which martial art to do, but I think you should have some martial arts capabilities to either protect yourself or protect other people, Same thing with weapons training. Although it's not as physical per se, although weapon can mean a lot of things, anything from throwing stars, bow staff, nunchucks, a combat cane, to actual firearms, or, if you want to go crazy, carry a sword, a katana, or maybe you carry a knife on you, a pocket knife. All those things, you should still train and have the technique to understand how that weapon could work as a weapon, not as a tool per se. If you carry like a Swiss Army pocket knife, still a knife, it's still a weapon at its base, even though it has other utility. But that's the point. I think you should be proficient not only with your hands and feet, because you can't always take a weapon into every single location, even in America, that's the case, but still, you always have your hands and feet on you. You can always run, you always have your mind, you always have your intelligence, and you always have these weapons, which in an unarmed situation, if you're more trained than the other person, or even potentially multiple people, and you have more, bravado and more freaking courage to do what needs to be done, in unarmed combat, let's say, I'm not telling you to go charge the guy with the gun just because you're braver than him. You think he's not going to, pull the trigger. Don't, this ain't the movies here. But the point is the higher trained person in any discipline is going to have a better chance of success and surviving that situation than the untrained person, the person who's going to panic, the person who's going to look for that trained person to come save them. What's the difference between you and a police officer? What, like a week or two of training? They're a human being, you're a human being. Why are you going to call them to come save your ass when you could just learn to save your own ass? I'm not saying, don't call them when you need them. Sure, you get in a car crash. All right, yeah, I'm not going to dig myself out of this one. But, real danger situation, the response time ain't going to be there if someone's mugging you right now saying, give me your wallet, bro. Like, you got to be ready to freaking kick that guy's head off. You got to be ready to run away faster than he can catch you. You know, you got to be ready to take that weapon out of his hand. That's all I'm saying. This is survival. And if you don't have survival, none of the others could matter if you can't help yourself to survive long term. So, might be a bit extreme. I'm a little bit of a paranoid guy when it comes to that stuff. But at the same time, nothing relieves my stress more than like hitting the punching bag. You know, like all this stuff that I do gives me peace of mind because it builds confidence. It builds, you know, trust in myself and trust in others who I teach these skills to, who are around me, that I know I'm capable, I know what I'm capable of, I know what they're capable of, and I know if a situation arises, they're ready to apply that training, and so am I. You know, that's the beauty of it. You know, you might sound a little paranoid talking about these things, but at the same time, you only have to be right once. And if all you do in your free time, you know, not all of your free time, of course, but if part of your training just goes to self-preservation, self-defense, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you enjoy it, you know? But I think it's a huge part of what encapsulates what I would consider the Balanced Bro training philosophy, because that's a crucial aspect of it, is being able to survive and live your full life without any threats, ending that life early potentially. You know, who knows what kind of bullshit could happen? One wrong turn, one bad alleyway, one guy cut you off in traffic, or you accidentally cut them off and they road rage you. You know, like, we could talk all day about the crazy 1 in a million scenarios, but if you find yourself that 1 in the million, you know, are you ready? Could you have been ready? Could you train harder? I think the answer is yes. You know, obviously you can't be ready for everything, but the more you are ready for, the less things that can stand in your way and prevent you from freaking dying of old age like you're supposed to. You know, living until you're freaking 90 or 100, still squat benching and deadlifting, doing all the fun stuff you like to do, getting in the freaking gym and making other people, you know, you're mogging other people in there just by being older. Doesn't matter you're lifting, you know, freaking 5 or 10 pounds at that age, curling freaking nothing. You're mogging everybody just by getting in the gym every day at that age, because all they're going to be doing is thinking about, oh, damn, how soon till I retire? Oh, freaking just going to sit in a nursing home. Oh, I'm just going to sit back on the beach at this age. Fuck that. That shit's boring now. It's going to be boring then, you know? Why not make yourself physically capable so that you can literally do as much physically active stuff for as old as you possibly can get, you know? I just think it's a good formula here to try and squeeze out the best aspects of all different training disciplines so that you not only are a stronger version of yourself, you look damn good in the mirror, you look friggin' aesthetic, you can get up a flight of stairs without being out of breath, and also run away if you need to. You have enough stamina to run, carry your own body, maybe carry someone else, you know. If you ever find yourself in a burning building and you want to be a friggin' hero, you're not just going to leave those people behind. You got to carry them, you know. Train for that. Get some sandbags, carry sandbags, you know. That's probably very similar to what a, you know, limp unconscious body in a freaking burning building feels like. It's probably a dead weight sandbag. But either way, get your nutrition in order, you know. Hell, where did I even put good night's sleep in this? That's part of longevity, let's say. Nutrition, longevity, good night's sleep, you know, right diet, proper supplementation, you know, taking whatever extra vitamins and minerals that you can't friggin', that you don't like any foods or whatever in your diet, you're not getting them, or your doc says you got a deficiency in this. Take some supplements, take some vitamins, take all that shit. Greens powder, eat your greens, eat your vegetables, eat fruits, you know, get sunlight, drink juice, you know, drink mostly friggin' water. Don't drink soda, you know, enough of this crap. Good nutrition, train for longevity, warm up, you know, get into the gym, spend the first 15 or 20 minutes warming up, you know, in any way whatsoever. Warm up whatever areas you have pain for, learn how to strengthen those areas that give you pain, and that pain will go away. You know, don't just let that be your existence. Is, oh, I got elbow pain, oh, I got tennis elbow, oh, I can't bench anymore because of my shoulders. No, improve it, fix that about yourself. Realize you have the power to adapt and change and take control of that power, seize it, and you will realize that you're a freaking much more better, much more capable person than you previously were, and than other people who don't recognize this about themselves, you know, and then you can mog them. You know, and then survival. This one's the most extreme. It's the most important. And it's the one that I think people consider the least often about themselves, you know. And although it's the most extreme and it's probably the most rare or unlikely thing to occur, you only have to be right once. And if you're wrong once, it could mean the end of it all. So why take that chance? Learn some martial arts. Learn how to use a friggin' weapon, especially if you live in America. Exercise your Second Amendment rights. It's your God-given right. You know, like you should be excited to do something that friggin' most other countries don't allow people to do. So you know, learn combat skills, learn weapon training, learn survival skills too. You know, I was a Boy Scout as a kid, which I'm very grateful for two reasons. I didn't get molested by the Scoutmaster, which is good, and I learned a shit ton of survival skills that I still use to this day. You know, like how to freaking start a fire, how to freaking start a fire with wet wood, how to freaking pitch a tent, how to, you know, do basic survival skills that the average person, if the grocery store wasn't open or, you know, modern society collapsed, they're screwed. They're literally going to be finding someone like me or Bear Grylls, and they're going to, you know, nestle to our bosom for survival until we tell them they're dead weight, and we have to say, look, man, got to pull your weight, or we got to cut you from the group here, because in a survival situation, there's no time for, you know, the lame horse, let's say. You know, there's no time for that. You know, you just got to keep moving, otherwise it's going to compromise the group. And obviously, again, it's extreme, I know. But either way, assuming the extreme is going to happen, make yourself more capable, make yourself have a skill set that is indisposable in a survival situation. And not only so that you could help yourself survive, but so that you could help others survive and potentially, you know, increase your chances of survival too. Because I preach this self-improvement stuff not only to myself, because I apply it, I take my own advice most of the time, you know, not always, but most of the time, but I also preach it to others for very selfish and selfless reasons. The selfish reason is because I want them to be more capable so they can potentially help me and be more capable if I need their help, if I need them in a survival situation, if I need them for any kind of threatening, potential danger situation, or if I actually need them help me move some furniture. It's good to have more physically capable people in your circle. Second reason, the selfless reason why I want to help people improve themselves and be the best version of themselves, because I want them to be the best version of themselves. That's it. I want them to be stronger, more aesthetic looking, more freaking physically capable, live the longest possible life they can while being able to do the most adventurous and exciting things because they have a body that can support it, not having joint pain, not having a stomach ache every day because they eat like shit, you know, not being tired all day because they don't get a good night's sleep. And should they ever be in a threatening situation where I'm not there to potentially use my skill set to help them and intervene, they have survival skills on their own. They can survive. They know how to take care of themselves too. They are more competent, more capable, and I want to be friends with that person even more. And I also want to influence people I am friends with and the people who potentially watch this video on camera. That's why I'm making this video. I'm talking to you. You need to fucking take this stuff too, you know? All 6 of these disciplines, strength, aesthetics, athletics, nutrition, longevity, survival, combine it all together, become a balanced bro, become a balanced bra, be the best version of yourself, the strongest version of yourself, the best looking, the most well-nourished, live the longest life you can, and ensure you live that long life with your survival skills. That's going to do it for the video today, people, though. It's been your boy Pete from PFM FIT. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe for more, because we got a lot more content on the way. Every time I get an idea like this, I get in the notebook, jot down as many bullet points as I can think of, and I just turn the camera on. So if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. Thank you, people. We're out.